I got to step into my power so that I can empower more women who were struggling just like I was.
So earlier in my career, I wish somebody would have told me that not everybody wants to see me win. Not everybody was going to be by my side. I had to learn to be my biggest cheerleader, to be the person to go out there and step out of my comfort zone and do new things, try new things, because not everybody is going to be supportive.
Guess what? You're not in it alone, because there's tons of women out there that are struggling just like you who want to be there to support you.
That's right. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of You Are Meant for More. My name is Francine Ayala and I'm so excited you're here today. You have no idea how important it is because we have such a phenomenal guest that's joining us that I am super enthralled by all the details that she's going to be sharing today, because I know that when we jump into the root cause of why there are illnesses out there, we really start to understand our bodies. So I'm not going to share too much, but I want to go ahead and introduce her because she is just a wonderful woman. Okay, so Corry Lang, she is a certified regenerative detoxification specialist and iridologist. Yes, say that 5 times real fast. She has a background in scientific research, nutrition, and herbal medicine. Having healed herself from debilitating chronic illness symptoms, she now empowers other women to uncover the true root causes of what's making them sick using a scientific and measurable approach. She guides her clients through a process of detoxifying and cleansing their organs and body systems, addressing the root causes of their so-called autoimmune. I love that she said that. So-called autoimmune or mystery illnesses. Yes. How many times have you heard that? Like chronic fatigue, constant pain, brain fog, swollen joints, rashes, and thyroid issues. This detoxification allows the cells, tissues, and organs to regenerate and heal naturally. So, wow, there is so much that she is going to share, and I'm just so excited you're going to be here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring her in. So welcome, Corry Lang. Yay! Thank you so much for joining. I truly appreciate you being here. I'm so excited.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course. I had to, right? Okay, just getting everything all set up. Okay, here we go. But oh my goodness, Corry, I remember talking to you recently, and I was just like, and I go, you know what, Corry? I'm like, we gotta chat. I said, because you're up to something that I am so passionate about getting out to the masses. You know, the whole reasoning behind starting this podcast, TV show, hosting this show called You Were Meant for More is because I got to learn how our body can regenerate itself through natural healing processes. And in order for me to share that on such a larger level, I need to bring in experts like you know what I mean? And so I was so excited when you started talking about that. And so yeah, of course I had to share.
I think we have so much in common. We're on such a similar trajectory, and I really do want to contribute to your cause. So yes. I can't wait to talk with you.
Oh, yes, I know. We're going to jump into all the things. So grab your coffee, I'm not going to say soda because that's so bad for you. Mm-hmm. Grab your tea, grab your water. I am such a water fan. You have no idea how much I love water. I love water. It's crazy.
Good.
Whatever it is that you are drinking this evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you're joining us from, definitely jump in. I want you to scoot your chair up, because this is going to be powerful. I want you to all really dive in. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on and how Corry and I met. How did we meet, Corry?
We met at a networking meeting. I think it was your networking meeting, right? It was 2 or 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, so you came into the virtual networking.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yes. Okay, awesome. I'm always trying to remember because there's so many women. I'm either meeting them virtually or I'm meeting them at an event. And so I'm always so humbled that I have the opportunity to meet, all of you phenomenal women. But you're based out of San Diego, right?
I live in San Diego, in Encinitas to be specific. That's 10 miles north of San Diego. Yeah. But I'm originally from Germany. That's why I have this accent. But I've lived here for 22 years already.
What accent? Did anybody hear an accent? Totally didn't hear an accent. Yeah. You've been here long enough. I can't even hear it. You're so cute. But that's amazing. You said Germany?
Yes, I'm from Germany. I came over 22 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so amazing. I'm wondering if you've ever met Gina Bannock.
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay. You're going to have to meet Gina. Gina's my other friend from Germany. I adore her so much. And so, yeah, I mean, again, ladies, this is what we do. We're all about networking and connections, right? So that's too funny. I'm so glad we had this opportunity to really stay connected throughout the years. So thank you for hopping on this show with me today.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and jump into. So tell us, because again, I want to get to know about you. Like, how did you get started and what made you really dive into the whole, regenerative detoxification specialist? Like, was it something that you experienced in your life?
Yeah. So what happened was that I had chronic illness symptoms, and I had those for a while, and they were getting worse progressively. And then I experienced some emotional stress. My dad actually had to go to a nursing home, and his wife, my stepmom, died. And it was a very stressful time. Everything happened really quick. And after that, I felt kind of traumatized by the whole thing and had PTSD because everything was so horrible. I mean, a person dying and the other person transitioning, it was just too much. After that, I got really sick. I had a really strong flare up. So until then, I had some brain fog, or brain frog, as you call it.
I know, right?
That was so cute. So I had brain fog. I had pain in my joints, I had actually swollen joints in the morning in my fingers and my ankles. Then I had constant pain. I had hormonal issues, like my hormones were going haywire somehow. So I had mood swings. I had anger issues all of a sudden, and I teach yoga and meditation, so I'm not really an angry person. I'm pretty balanced, but I was having road rage at times. It was kind of really strange. I actually got in trouble at my job for a fighting with a coworker, and I was so angry. And so I really needed to do something. It was getting to the point where I had already been going to doctors, by the way, and nothing ever came out of my blood work, or there was nothing wrong with me, technically.
Yeah.
In hindsight, now I know, when I looked at my blood work, there were some indicators in my basic blood work too. But doctors always said, there's nothing wrong with you. Come back in 6 months. Do you want an antidepressant? And that was not the root cause of my problem, was not depression, But so my symptoms got worse. And then when this thing happened with my dad and my stepmom, that's when I had a really bad flare up. I was in bed for a week and I couldn't get up. I had so much pain and so much chronic fatigue, and I couldn't get up. And I was in a really bad space. And that kind of went away a little bit. But after that, I knew I really had to do something. And so I didn't get any help from doctors. I went to different specialists and nobody could help me. Everybody said there's nothing wrong with me. And then they called it a mystery illness, by the way. You have mystery symptoms. And then I started to research the medical literature because my background is in scientific research, and I had access to PubMed, which is the medical library. And I looked for my symptoms there, and I found my symptoms all the way back to the 1960s. So in the 1960s, these symptoms were already described in the scientific literature. Yeah. And even at that time, the scientists were pointing to a virus. And so I went to my doctors and said, can you test me for this virus? I think I might have it. And the doctor I talked to was like, oh, were we on the internet? Are we a doctor? Ha ha. And I was like, what? Don't talk to me like that. I'm your customer. I'm paying you. And I had one of my moments of rage or anger. I was really tired. I was exhausted. I was in so much pain. And so I yelled at him. I literally yelled at him. And I said, you have to test me for this. I think it's a virus. And so then he did test me, and I did have that virus. And then I asked him, so now that we know what it is, can you help me with that? Do you have anything for it? And they said, there's nothing for it. We don't even know what that is. And I was like, since the 1960s, we've known about this virus and nothing has been done about it. I mean, so then I went back home and I tried to figure out how to heal myself. And I tried everything. I tried all these modalities. I made a ton of mistakes in the beginning. I listened to Facebook experts. There's always Facebook groups and experts. And I tried everything. And I tried, every herb on the market, every supplement, every specialist, and everything helped a little bit. but not really. I always still got worse. I always had flare-ups still. And then I came across this modality called regenerative detoxification. And what it means is that we're detoxifying our organs and body systems from what makes us sick, which is typically a pathogen like a virus and its cofactors. And then the things that viruses feed on, which is heavy metals and acids. And we detoxify the body from everything that could make us sick. So chemicals, pesticides, toxins, pathogens. Did I say that already? And then toxic mucus. And typically people with chronic health issues have a sluggish lymphatic system. So I could talk forever about this, but to answer your question, so I researched how I could heal myself. This is what I landed on, and this is the method that really helped me. And I flushed out all my organs and body systems from everything that was making me sick, cleaned out my lymphatic system, and my symptoms went away. And I haven't had symptoms since then. That was 6 years ago. And so, when you stop making yourself sick and when you help yourself to detoxify, your organs and your tissues will regenerate and heal.
Oh my goodness. So, I was ready to hop in and be like, rah! Because I was so angry with what the doctor did to you. And it's just like, now, of course, we learn how to control our anger and our emotions, but it's so frustrating because for so long, we have to fight for our health. We have to fight for our bodies. And I am so passionate about that, about really understanding. So like, if you're ever, I'm going to share this with the audience. If you're ever diagnosed with cancer, please get a second, third, and I don't care, fourth opinion, because guess what? Something could happen in there that may not even lead to you being stage 3, 4. So we're going to get more into this topic. All I'm saying is I'm not telling you, don't see a doctor, don't, go past and don't listen to, I'm not trying to say that. I'm no medical expert. All I'm saying is please fight for your body. Please fight for your health. Please fight for your family and your friends that are suffering. And this is why it's so important to get this message out. And I'm just going to reiterate, I think I said this on a past episode, I suffered with so much pain from my menstrual cycle for 9 years. And the doctors would just tell me it's normal. It's your body. It's your body reacting. And I'm just like, something is not right. And I'm like, it's not, they wouldn't look further. They would be like, well, just stay on birth control.
Oh.
I wanted to, obviously I was on birth control, but, every time I had my menstrual, I was in debilitating pain. Mm-hmm. Just like I couldn't work. It got to the point where I'd call off work. It got to the point where I was down for 2 days of just in excruciating pain. I was on Motrin 800 because of the pain. It was like I was going through labor pains. That's how bad it was. And so I can't stress enough that I finally forced a doctor that was going to see me and understand that I needed a hysterectomy. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, had I known all this, had I known what part of healing and stuff and everything that Corry is sharing with us today, I probably would have went through the whole, detoxification process.
I wish we had met then. I didn't know that.
Exactly. And so, yes, I'm just but again, it's just so frustrating that we have to fight for ourselves. And yes, we're not medical doctors. We didn't go to school. We didn't get your degree. But guess what? There are so many natural ways out there. And that's why Corry's here today. And that's why I'm so passionate, because her and I are on that same mission to share this with everyone.
I think, doctors are not really to blame. So I have friends who are doctors, and in our industry and scientific research, we work with doctors too. And doctors, I don't want to bash on doctors too much because it's their fault. It's their training, right? Yes. They weren't, specialists, or if you have an accident or anything like that, they're amazing. These doctors are so specialized. and they're so amazing. The surgeries they can do nowadays, of course, they're amazing.
Absolutely.
But for chronic health issues, they're just not trained the right way. And of course, if you want to swerve into this whole other discussion about the pharmaceutical industry, we can. The pharmaceutical industry has, of course, some skin in the game. They do want to sell their pharmaceuticals, right? That's how they make money. And doctors nowadays are trained to prescribe medications and procedures. That's how doctors make their money. And I know firsthand from friends that are doctors, from my friends that are doctors, if they leave their box, their parameters, then they can get in real trouble. They can lose their license, they can lose their job. A lot of times doctors do lose their job because they want to do other things. They want to look into chronic illness and look into lifestyle and nutrition and pathogens and toxins, and they lose their job over that. So this is a tricky topic for doctors, and I feel for them. And the suicide rate among doctors is actually the highest in any industry.
Interesting. I didn't even know that.
The suicide rate among new doctors is higher than in any other industry, because doctors figure out that they're now going to be pill pushers, and that's not what they signed up for. They actually really wanted to help people. Right. And that's, and a lot of doctors leave the field. They even forfeit their medical license to do something else. That's a whole other topic, and it's a shame because these are brilliant people.
It really is. I mean, there are, like, for example, a doctor that I see, you know, they're starting to ask the questions: what are you eating? What does your diet look like? How are you exercising? Because before, if you had some type of issue, they're like giving you a pill right away, giving you this, giving you that. And don't get me wrong, my doctor's still trying to give me medication, you know, for something. And I'm just like, I'm good. You know, she already knows I don't take medication, you know, so it's like, I'm good. You know, I'll look into something else and, you know, I'll figure it out, because I took the time to research and to really understand that, you know, our bodies are able to heal themselves. Our bodies understand the process. We just need to know that, and we have to have the right tools to do so. And so, you know, again, and so many people, and I know this is a touchy subject, but so many people out there are, you know, going to be, you know, against it. But the people that I know that watch this show, that are part of Wheela, that part of Wheela Connects, that have been following me for a while, understand my passion and understand that this is what's the word I'm looking for? It's a epidemic of large proportion. So
one thing I'm also very interested in, and that's what I try to train my clients in, is to listen to your intuition, as you did, Francine. So I want everyone, especially the women, we are so connected to our intuition, but we kind of lost it sometimes. I mean, we get brainwashed, right? We get trained by doctors, by the industries, by the media to not listen to our intuition. We have to come back into listening to our intuition, because really we can heal anything. If you stop making your body sick, and if you help your body detoxify, then you can heal anything. Unless an organ is too degenerate or ready to regenerate itself, then it's hard. But until then, you can regenerate your tissues and your organs. The body is designed to regenerate itself. There are cells that implode after 20 minutes, cells recycle. They're programmed to do that. There's a thing called apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. These cells are designed and programmed to die, and then they recycle. And our body is ingenious. Our body is so intelligent in recycling and regenerating itself. And we are usually in the way because we feed it the wrong products, or we're full of toxins. And of course, that's over time, we accumulate toxins in our tissues, in our fatty tissues, and that's what leads to chronic illness down the road. But if we stop doing that, and if we help to detoxify our bodies, then there's no reason why we shouldn't heal. And that's part of our intuition too. When I was sick, I knew there was something wrong with me. I knew there was something that was causing this. And I asked all my doctors, I said, what is causing this? What's actually making me sick? And they were like, they told me, you know, the standard typical myths. I don't know if I'm getting ahead here of myself, but you can interrupt me. But
you're good.
The standard myths that doctors tell us is it's genetic. It could be anything. We don't know. Could be anything. Also, typically they say there is no cure for this. I've heard that. My doctors told me that there's no cure for what you have. We don't even know what you have, and it could be anything. And I was fighting them. I was like, I know there's something that causes this. Can you find out what that is? And they just wouldn't. That's where my main frustration came from at that time, that they left me alone with this. I had no guidance. I had no one who knew, and I couldn't ask anybody. And the internet is full of information that can lead into all kinds of rabbit holes, may or may not be worthy to follow or pursue. But now I'm really getting ahead of myself.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's just, again, because we get so passionate about it, it's like, yes, there's that whole, like, what they tell us, those myths that they tell us, well, it's hereditary, you know what I mean? And it's just like,
I was, when I heard
I remember,
I was like, nobody in my family has this. How can it be genetic? Plus, I happen to have a PhD project in proteomics, which studies how proteins get expressed by the DNA. And they always change. So, long story, but I know for a fact that there is no such, in about 3% of illness cases or sickness, we have genetics at play. But even if we have a genetic predisposition, it doesn't mean that we have to get that illness. It's all about epigenetics. And that is what comes from our environment, how we, feed ourselves, the nutrition that we have or don't have, and the toxins and the pathogens. And that is much more important than the actual genetics, which sometimes if you do a gene test, you have, you get your whole display of your genes. Sometimes you have markers that actually change after you did a detox, which means this genetic mishap happened because you were toxic. So this is how strong these toxins really are. They can even change your genome and bring out markers that then will reverse once you're detoxified.
Wow. Yeah. So, that can go in so many different areas where they're like, oh, you have this. And then the next week after your body detoxifies, guess what? It doesn't exist anymore.
Correct.
But yet it's in your head that you have it. So you're spiraling out of control. You're probably getting all the medications, right? To help with whatever it is they say you have.
Oh yeah. Medications is a whole other topic. It's like medications have side effects, and medications always affect the body negatively too. Medications don't heal anything. They just suppress symptoms. And especially with those heavy chronic illnesses, like I had, my symptoms were classified as lupus, fibromyalgia, and Hashimoto's. And when you have those really heavy duty chronic illnesses, you're already impacted. Your lymphatic system is congested and clogged. And then you have, if you take pharmaceuticals like immunosuppressants, like prednisone, for example, that's an immunosuppressant. So you may have less symptoms, but now your body has to fight all the toxic crap from the pharmaceuticals on top of that. And then your liver gets affected. Your liver is the largest organ for metabolizing. So it's always involved in everything. The liver just gets really toxic from those pharmaceuticals. You start having side effects. And then, of course, the doctors offer other pharmaceuticals to deal with the side effects, right? And then, sure enough, you end up with, I don't know, my dad one time took 8 medications. He only took a high blood pressure medication, and then he had some side effects. And then he took another one for the side effects, and then a third one for both side effects, and then a fourth one for all the side effects. And then in the end, he was on 8 medications, and he was very brave. He just stopped taking all his medications on one day and said, I'm not doing this anymore. And he didn't feel any different after that. He was actually fine without them.
Yeah.
Medications.
It's really tough because, I see my parents, or not even my parents, my dad, on all these medications. And I just, oh my goodness, it breaks my heart, you know? And I just in my head, I just want to scream, like, you don't need to be on all that. Like, it's crazy. But the thing is, like, okay, let's talk about it, because we can't, what's the saying? We can walk a horse to water, but we can't
make it drink.
We can't make them drink. So it's like, I understand this. I remember when I went deeper into my studies because I wanted to understand the process in which we make ourselves sick and how we can help our bodies release that. And that's, through a lot of different understanding, the root cause, right? But I remember doing this thinking, oh, I can't wait to learn all this stuff. I'm going to help my family. You know, they're not going to be sick anymore. There's not going to be any medications. But guess what? You can't make them drink.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is, like, especially older people are stuck in their ways, and they hear everything from the doctor, take the medication, but it's like, you know better.
For older people, they grew up thinking or knowing that their doctor actually really cared about them. I remember that too. Like our first doctor was very caring. He really took an interest. He talked to us for 45 minutes, right? He tried to get down to the root causes too at that time. But nowadays, everything is so industrialized, and doctors talk to you for 5 minutes, if at most. I mean, sometimes even less. They look at you, they take a note, and then the nurse practitioner will take care of you. And that is just not enough time to really get to know someone and to learn about their lifestyle, their nutrition, their toxins. And that's, I mean, plus they're not trained to help you with chronic illness anyway.
Yeah.
But it used to be different. Nowadays it's about profit. It's about, selling medications.
I was just going to say, so what's the pharmaceutical business making? Trillions or billions?
Oh, trillions.
Trillions. Yeah. I'm like, they're up there, right? So yeah. Oh no, I went in for a procedure not too long ago, and my doctor was like, the doctor who was my doctor is like, what are you doing here? You don't need this.
Oh.
You're too young. Why are you here? Oh, because I have this symptom. And he goes, yeah, but he's just like, it didn't constitute that procedure. Mm-hmm. And he literally looked at me and goes,
yeah,
that means money. And I was just like, I was in the process of getting the procedure done. I was just like, well, that's nice. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I was like, okay, you know better, Francine. You should have known better. You should have waited for this. But it was okay. It was like a process, and I went through it, and it was fine. And because he said, he's like, if everything comes out fine, I'll see you in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay.
I wish I had met you then, so we could have done something about this without the surgery, But we as the consumers, as the patients, we need to stand up for what we want. And what we want is better care. We need to tell our doctors what we really want is for them to look at our underlying root causes again, and not
don't give me a Band-Aid. I'm sorry to interrupt. Don't give me a Band-Aid. I want to know what the root cause is.
Yeah. Every time I go to the doctor, I get my blood work done every year still, right? And sometimes I go for whatever. And then I always tell them what's wrong with me. And I have doctors that are really interested and they really want to hear this. And they're like, oh, I've never heard about this virus. And then I tell them what I know, and then they actually start listening. So I do believe the doctors are just as fed up with this system as we are. As I said, I have friends who are doctors, and they tell me that. Yeah. And so, we have to change the system together. I don't know how we're going to do it. I always think that if you build it, they will come. Like we have to just skip. How do you say that? Do the scales. How do you say it? Move the scales. So
yeah, because that's us, by sharing. So the more people that understand, the more people that are gaining this information and this knowledge, because all it is doing the research. And the thing is, if you don't want to do the research, then you're going to just listen to what the doctors have to say. So you get to choose, right?
There's a little more to this. I feel just doing the research can be misunderstood as Googling things.
No, yes.
One of the things that I wanted to address too is the mistakes that people make when they just start.
Absolutely.
One of the mistakes I made when I started to look into solutions was I did Google research things, and I tried to find my symptoms, and I ended up in Facebook groups, and there are so many people that claim they're experts and they really don't have any credentials. And it's a waste of time. I don't think it's dangerous, but it's a waste of time. I wasted the time. And I didn't know where to look. And of course you look everywhere because nobody has answers. Like your family doesn't know, the doctors don't know, your friends don't know.
Right.
And then my parents would always say, go back to the doctors. And I was like, guess where I just came from? I just came from the doctors.
Yeah.
So I was looking everywhere and I was barking up all the wrong trees. And even certified, accredited specialists sometimes don't know. Okay, even doctors don't know. So what I did was scientific research. That's different from Google research, right?
I'm so glad you specified that. Yes.
Not really. We always say we're going to research it, but we're really not researching it. We're just looking it up on Google. And that's a whole other, right? Whole other thing. So everybody can read scientific research papers, but they're kind of boring and difficult to understand.
Yeah.
I spent 2 years on this education. I got a bunch of different degrees, and there's naturopathy in there and all that. So that's, I think that nobody knows everything, absolutely. But you can get information from people who have studied this and try to build your own picture, or go with someone who's healed themselves. Actually, I think the easiest and the cheapest way now to actually go with someone who's already done it. Why waste time on the internet? But the internet is a crazy place. And I mean, there's snake oil, literally snake oil that you can buy. And maybe it has an ingredient that's good for you, but it's still based on just coconut oil, and you need more. When you have a pathogen like this virus that I had, and we're talking about the Epstein-Barr virus, by the way, it's a really aggressive virus. It used to live in us as a symbiotic relationship. It has lived in us forever. Okay. It is actually there for a reason, but we mutated it. The reason is we are full of toxins. We've effectively poisoned our whole planet, right? So these toxins, they punish us. They hit back. And the virus, this Epstein-Barr virus that normally lives in us and helps us, is now mutated, has like 6 undergroups, and they're aggressive in various stages. They attack our organs, our nervous system. It is a very aggressive, dangerous virus. And if you want to look up research papers, you could look for the connection between Epstein-Barr and, for example, MS, or various cancers, actually. There's always a connection there. And these papers have just started to come out in 2020. That's when the first Harvard paper came out about this. So I'm just saying all this because I want to say this virus is aggressive, and you need more than just coconut oil. It is, or more than essential oils. You need a strategy, you need a real approach, and you need herbs. And can we talk about herbs?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, we can talk about all things.
Herbal medicine and naturopathy are very effective and very powerful. So we're not just talking about drinking chamomile tea. We're talking about really powerful herbal conglomerates that are designed to break up toxins, to pull your tissues together, to squeeze out the toxins. They're astringent. And these toxins really worked in my case to help me detoxify all my organs and my tissues. And I had already lived a healthy lifestyle, I have to say. I had been very active, exercised all the time, and I was a vegetarian. And I really do believe that too much animal protein clogs us up. We're not designed to eat a lot of animal protein. We are not carnivores. The only true carnivores are cats. We are primates. We have the same hands and teeth and intestines as apes, which makes us primates. And apes eat a healthy fruit-based diet. And I say fruit-based because they really do eat a lot of fruit. Whatever they can find in a tropical forest is a healthy diet for them. Would be a healthy diet for us humans as well. So lots of fruit, veggies. Apes eat leaves. We could substitute that with kale or spinach, leafy greens. They eat sweet grasses, nuts and seeds, and the occasional grasshopper or a small bird. So about 3% of their diet is animal protein. And that's how we should eat too. If we eat too much protein, it clogs us up. We actually attract parasites with that. We can't digest all this meat. And tell me why I said all this. I lost my thread.
No, my goodness. Are you serious? I'm listening. I'm taking notes. I'm just like, and it's true, as far as like, it's so funny because when I went to the doctor's not too long ago, she had told me, because I'm like trying to, I'm always not trying because I already know that we either do or we don't. You don't try, by the way. There's no try in anything. Your brain either computes you do or you don't.
Right.
So I had told her, that I was, going through some stuff, and she goes, eat fruit every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Every morning, eat fruit. And I said, okay, well, what about snack? And she goes, fruit. I go, what about lunch? And she goes, have a regular low, calorie lunch, and then, normal dinner and stuff like that. And I was like, but every morning, fruit. For snack, fruit. I was just blown away, because I was like, in my mind, I was like, yeah, but there's sugars in fruit.
Oh, let me talk about that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please. So again, there's a lot of misconceptions, and that's why it's so important to talk about this, because like you said, and I'm so grateful you said, not Google research, scientific research. So yes, let's proceed with the fruit. Sorry.
So the fruit, okay, a lot of doctors still say that to their patients, don't eat so much fruit, there's too much sugar in it. So there is fructose and glucose and galactose are the fruit sugars, they're monosaccharides, whereas industrial sugar or processed sugar, white sugar, is polysaccharides, so long chain sugars. These are actually the bad sugars, and the good sugars are the monosaccharides. And we can eat fruit, and a lot of fruit. Every time we eat fruit, there's also fiber in the fruit, right? Mm-hmm. So the combination of sugar and fiber makes it ideal for this glucose or fructose to get stored in our liver for later. So we eat it, we use some of that sugar, and the rest gets stored away in a safe place. And then when our blood sugar gets low, our liver pushes out a little bit of sugar, and then, we're balanced again. But if we eat industrial sugar or processed sugar, it's just a spike that goes up, and then we drop down. And especially if we eat it with no fiber. Diabetes is actually caused by fat and sugar. So not just by sugar. The combination of fat and sugar, there's no fiber in that scenario, and that's why we can't store it in the liver. I didn't explain that very elegantly, but the idea is that we can eat a lot of fruits. We can eat the fruit sugar. It's actually healthy for us. This kind of sugar is healthy for our brain. For example, we need this kind of sugar to buffer against stress. It actually builds a buffer against stress, against cortisol, the stress hormone. And this is the only sugar, this fruit sugar is the only sugar that makes it through our blood-brain barrier into our brain. Our brain needs sugar too. And a lot of times when we don't get this kind of sugar, we actually start having symptoms which are now called diabetes 3. It's when we have not enough glucose in our brains. And the doctors are just now starting with that, with diabetes 3, coming out with that research. And, for example, kids need sugar too for the development of their brains and their nervous system. Kids always seem to crave sugar, right? But it's not the industrial or white sugar that they're craving, it's fruit sugar. And if you let a toddler loose in a fruit garden, in an orchard, they will gorge themselves on fruit because their bodies know what they need, and they're still young enough not to be brainwashed, and they eat a lot of fruit because that's the sugar that they want. Little kids, they don't want tiramisu or, yucky desserts at a restaurant. They want berries. When I worked as a waitress, I used to work as a waitress a long time ago after college. We had kids come to our restaurant and parents offered them sweets or a dessert and they didn't want it. And I always asked, would you like some berries? They're like, yes. And they would consume the berries like a vacuum. They would just, suck them up really fast because they were deprived of this kind of fruit sugar. Children know what they need. They still listen to their bodies.
I love that. Yeah, that's so good to know. It's just as an adult, and again, I will put myself out there because I always put myself on blast. I'm really bad with the bad sugar, like desserts and things like that. Like, it's like I have dinner, I'm like, what's for dessert? You know what I mean? And so I know that part. Yeah. And so, yes, definitely working on that and limiting less of the bad sugars versus the good sugars that are like, I love fruit.
Fault. By the way, it's not your fault. You might have an overgrowth of some harmful bacteria, a dysbiosis. These bacteria tell you to eat desserts. So we have herbs for that. Every time we take one dose of these herbs, the cravings go away because the parasites, they start fighting this herb and then they actually die and go away. And when you have a healthy probiome, when your bacteria, your intestinal bacteria are healthy, you don't have sugar cravings. So this may be an indicator for that. And it's super easily fixable.
Awesome. And see, and this is why we love Corry. This is why we love her sharing, because guess what? We're all going to need that. And once we drop those sugar cravings, everything starts to balance.
Absolutely.
You know, because I already know that it's messed me up, like internally. I know I feel sluggish. There's times I can't sleep right. So it's one of those, like, we know, but what are we doing to change it? We're like, So believe me, I brought Corry in at such a perfect time, because as we head into the holidays, especially with Halloween, guess what? There's a lot of candy out there. There's a lot of sweets. There's a lot of pumpkin spice. There's all the goodies, right? And then we head into Thanksgiving with all the goodies, and then, you know, Christmas. So, but it's really good to understand this process now, so that we can prepare for what's coming, and how to detoxify our body, you know, and how to keep ourselves, you know, not wanting that sugar, not, you know, really detoxifying the body to not crave that sugar, by you sharing, you know, about the herbs. So, yeah.
I think now is actually a really good time to do a detox, because we're still far away from the holidays. So now this is a big enough time frame to do a full detox. If you've never done a detox, detoxify yourself from parasites and heavy metals and all those things that could make you sick. And then you can go into the holidays with a clean slate, basically. And you'll find that you have changed your eating habits a little bit after a detox. Like your palate has changed.
Absolutely.
You're not craving sugar anymore. You don't have to eat all the terrible things that are offered. I mean, you can have a bite and just get the taste and be happy with it. You know, you don't have to ravage yourself on the Halloween candy and all that.
And that's so true, because I think that's where it is. It's just like, you just want to be able to, like, have it. But when you feel like, you know, because we go through that whole mental note of like, oh, I can't eat that much, or, oh, you know, I can only have. But when it's coming from a place of like, I can have it, but I don't really care for that much.
Right. Exactly.
It's different.
Like when I went through my detox, that's my experience. Like I was craving sugar until then as well. I also had parasites, right? And then when, my God, when parasites come out, it's so much fun. It's a party. It's like, I have clients who take pictures of their worms that come out and send them to me. And I love seeing pictures, but I need a little heads up. I need like a warning text that says, I'm sending you a picture of a worm. You know, I had a client who pooped out a roundworm that was this long. I don't know if you can see it, like a spaghetti noodle. And she cleaned it up and nailed it against the wall, or taped it against the wall. And then she took a picture of it. It was literally like a foot long. Oh no, how long is a foot? Maybe longer than a foot. And it was gross. And these things have fangs and eyes, and they bite into your tissue and stay there. They don't want to leave. So we need to convince them. And the herbs are very strong for that as well.
Okay, we're all about herbs, people. We are getting herbs on the next flight out or the next drive out from San Diego.
So when you detox and all these things come out of you, and there's other things that will come out, like foam and slimy things and all kinds of weird things when you really thoroughly cellularly detox. But then after that, you feel really clean, like your palate has changed, like your sclera, the white around your eye has cleared up. Your eyes are brighter, and that white is whiter. And everybody will notice, and you will radiate. Your skin is shiny, and I mean, all these good things start happening.
Oh my goodness, ladies! You know that's what we all want. We want that beauty.
Beauty comes from the inside, right? And then when Christmas comes around, or Hanukkah, then you don't crave those foods anymore, and you can have those foods if you want them. And I always think willpower is great, but I think healthy habits are more important than willpower. And when I work with clients, I never force them to do anything, and I don't want them to force themselves.
Right.
Most people do not thrive on willpower. We thrive on habits, but also it should be easy. You know, it should be easy to detoxify and not painful and not horrible. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we're really training people to listen to their intuition, to get in touch with their body, to get in touch with their inner stuff. So we also do emotional health while we're at it. And it's a whole package, and it's all designed to help you be more connected with yourself.
I think that's it's so true. So I wanted to jump in, like, emotional health. It's so good that you said that. But I wanted to jump into the topic of common healing mistakes to avoid. Did you want to share some highlights on that?
Yes. So one of the things I addressed earlier is like going down into any rabbit hole, all rabbit holes on the internet, because while it's fun, it's also time consuming and sometimes expensive, and it doesn't really yield to the results you're craving. And there are experts that are really not experts. And I know a bunch of these people personally, actually. And I mean, they're all good natured people. They just want to help, but it doesn't work to just rub some essential oil into your elbow thing here. There needs to be more than that. And for chronic illnesses, and I'm really talking about chronic illness, if you have been sick for some time and doctors have not helped you, then some essential oils alone will not help you. But I mean, they can have great benefits, and I'm sure something happens, but you need to get to the bottom of what's really making you sick. You need to run some blood work. You need to do some tests and maybe get an iris reading. I do iris readings as well. I'll show you that later. But so common mistakes are, don't bark up every tree. Find one thing that can work for you. And a lot of the specialists out there, they're great, but they don't hold you accountable either. There's no real guidance there. That was my experience. I went to different acupuncturists and osteopathic doctor who really helped me. They all helped me. They were all great, but it didn't really lead to lasting results. I still got sick, and I still had days where I couldn't get out of bed. I still had excruciating pain in my nerves. And sometimes I touched my skin and my skin was like on fire. You know, just a gentle touch would make my skin feel like on fire. That's how much nerve pain I had. Wow. And then when I stayed with this one method and made it through 3 months of that, that's when I stopped having these symptoms, and they never came back. But so you need to stick with one method that really works for you. Hold yourself accountable, check in with your coach every week, do the homework. And I think that's the biggest mistake we can make, is to go on Facebook and find.
Yes. And try to find the help. Okay. Yes. So what are the actionable steps to take control of your health and begin healing naturally?
Okay. So one of the biggest things I think you addressed already is drinking a lot of water. Definitely hydrate yourself. Most Americans are dehydrated. And if our lymphatic system is congested or clogged up, our lymphatic system is a little bit like our sewer system in our body. So all the metabolic waste products go into the lymphatic system. And if we're clogged up, if the sewage can't go out, then they will come back into our cells. The sewage comes back into our cells, and that's really bad. So to hydrate is very important. Get the lymphatic system going, get your kidneys going. Your kidneys are often impaired as well with chronic health issues. And then eating fruit is fantastic. I would recommend if you're detoxing, if your goal is to detox, eat at least 60% of fruit a day. So whatever your food intake is, 60% of that could be fruit, and that will hydrate you. Fruit is hydrating, it's alkalizing, it's detoxifying, it tastes good because of the sugar, it makes you happy, and it's also filling. I think it's very important that you stay happy while you detox, because, I mean, if you already have chronic health issues and you're miserable like I was, then any little bit of happiness is really a plus. It really helps. So eating a lot of fruit,
I'm so sorry. I have to interrupt you because I kid you not, I had a peach the other day and I was like, this is really good. So it took me back to like feeling happy. I'm like, I was so happy. That peach was amazing.
I love that. And you get some appreciation for food, right? You feel like, especially when your palate changes, when your palate gets more cleaner, then you really taste what fruit is supposed to taste like. It's not masked by anything else. Everything tastes so fresh and so good. And it really, I mean, I remember when I was detoxing, how everything changed for me. My palate changed. I was like, fruit tastes so good. It's so rich.
Yeah. So I know we're going to hop into you have a webinar coming up.
Yes, I have a webinar on, when is the date, Francine? Yeah.
I love you, Corry. Okay, everyone, she has a webinar coming up. This is how busy this woman is. I love it. She's like, what date was it again? She'll know when it comes, just so you know. But it's October 16th, and it's 1 p.m. PST time. So just know that it'll be 4 p.m. EST, right? So yeah, okay. I'm all trying to count ahead. So I want to share that with everyone because during this webinar, can you touch a little bit about what you're going to be sharing?
Yes, so in this webinar, we'll talk about some strategies that you can apply right away for your healing journey. And we'll go a little bit more in depth into the herbs and into what I did to heal myself. And it's an educational webinar. So it's no sales pitch or anything like that. Of course, I will talk about at the end about my programs, what I can offer you, and if you're interested. But you can also just stay for the educational content and then hop off if you like. It's about 45 minutes. Okay. So on next week, Wednesday, the 16th at 1 p.m. PST Pacific time and 4 p.m. Eastern time. Mm-hmm. And if you'd like to register, it's on my website. Actually, you can go. It is
on her website. So I'm going to go ahead and drop it in. So it's super easy. It's corrylang.com. And you scroll down a little bit to the middle bottom of the page. You'll see her webinar where it says Detoxify to Heal. And I actually registered because I want her steps. Like you talked about herbs and I'm like, okay, well, what herbs? Tell me all the herbs. I need to detoxify. Like, tell me all the things. But I know where you're going to come out later and talk about how people can work with you afterwards, but you're going to provide tons of value as far as the next steps, correct?
Yeah, it's really just educational content. And then at the end, I talk about my programs. I'm really on a mission here to educate as many people as I can to know that we can heal our illnesses. We really can heal our illness. I just want to give hope because I was hopeless. May I talk about this real quick?
Absolutely, please.
When I was so sick and I had no hope and I couldn't work anymore. So I had muscle weakness too. My muscles weren't working anymore and I couldn't walk anymore, let alone work. And I called in sick all the time. And I couldn't make money anymore, right? And I had so much debt already. And then I decided to take all these supplements and all this stuff. By the way, that's a huge waste of money if you go into the supplement industry. A lot of these supplements are made in the lab. It's better to get these nutrients and these things from nutrition, from actual foods, okay? So then I was spending all my money on help, on osteopathic doctor's office visits that didn't come out of my insurance. I had to pay out of pocket. And then I was so weak and sick that I couldn't live like this. I thought this is not sustainable. I either have to find the cure now or I have to leave the planet because how am I going to keep my house? I was so hopeless. And then, I kid you not, I had a conversation with my angel. So I was sitting in my living room one night and I was like, what am I going to do? And I was really hopeless. And then I felt a presence and this presence said, why don't we just heal it? And I was like, do you know how to heal it? Then let's heal it. Okay. And then all of a sudden I had hope. And this presence that I felt wasn't there all the time, but he basically told me to try different things and go into the research literature and to read. And I did that. And I started reading as much as I could. And then one step led to the next. And it was a process. It took me 9 months altogether. But after the 9 months, I declared to my boyfriend that now I'm healed. I haven't had any more symptoms. My energy has been up at the same level the whole time. I'm good, no more symptoms. So the total was like 9 months for my healing journey. But hope was really the most important thing. And that's what I want to give other people. I do believe and know that we can heal any of our illnesses, all of our illnesses, unless an organ is too degenerate to regenerate itself. But that hardly ever happens. But our chronic illnesses like lupus and fibromyalgia and MS, we can heal those. And I want everybody to know that.
Yeah, and I think that's so important where you said hope. Just want you to have hope because so many people out there have just lost hope. But see what happens too. It's like, and this is all coming full circle. Now the show is called is You Were Meant for More, spirit, mind, and body. The reason why we focus on the spirit, it's just like Corry said. She sat in her living room and she spoke to a light, a spirit, something that was sitting, an angel. And so the thing is, we're all connected to our spirit. We're all connected. We just don't pay attention. We kind of go out of our own and do our own thing. But when we really seek to understand our spirit will guide us. Yeah. And that's why it's so important that you stay connected. Then mind, you're going to focus on the mind. That's just, the emotions. Like Corry, you talked about anger. And when I talk to people about anger, I'm like, oh, I remember when I went through those anger episodes, road rage. I think I chased somebody down the street because they cut me off. I'm like, I said, I think. I'm like, I may or may not have chased him down the street
Mhm.
with my 8-year-old in the car when he was 8.
Wow.
So again, there's just these things that we don't even realize about ourselves. And this is why it's so important. And then Corry just shared all about the body and how it can rejuvenate itself, and how it's just, our body is just this amazing mechanism that we get to be a part of.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, you were going to say?
I said inhabit.
Inhabit, yes.
Mhm.
And to really allow it to give us the life we've always dreamed of, without having to be in pain, debilitated, lose hope, and things like that. So that's why it's so important that everybody knows the spirit, mind, and body connection. They're all encompassing. They all work collectively together. And just being able to be in a space with these phenomenal women, to be able to talk about this, to be able to fight for women.
Yes.
This is what we do. This is why we're passionate.
Mhm.
And so if you can share this episode with anybody, I want to thank you, Corry, for coming out, for being here with me today as we wrap up, our show. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. And you just have so much value, so much light to share with so many others.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really thank you so much, Francine, for inviting me. And I really feel that we are divine beings in a human body, right? So we have guidance from above. They want us to succeed in this lifetime. They want us to have hope and to heal ourselves, and we can do that. And we have a bigger mission too, is to change the systems on this planet. We want to change the medical industry. We're talking to doctors, and doctors are on our side. They actually want to help us. So we need to just bring this out more and talk to more people and get everybody on the same page and tip the scales. That's what I was trying to say earlier. We
Tip the scale. Yes.
We're building a new world, and then everybody comes with us, and the old world will just fall away because nobody's going there anymore. So that's our goal, is to empower people and inspire people, give them hope. And then we can build this new world together.
Yes, I am all for it, everyone. So who's on board? Let's go. If you have questions, comments, please leave them here. I'm so excited that you joined us on another episode of You Are Meant for More. Definitely stay connected with Corry there. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can also go to her website and register for her webinar.
Yes,
this is the link, but the best way to find it, obviously the easiest way to find it if you're not in front of a computer, just remember CorryLang.com. Take a screenshot, however you want to do it. But thank you all for joining us. Thanks again, Corry, for being here. And yes, let's continue to do this mission together.
Thank you, Francine.
You're welcome. You all have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, and stay tuned for next week's show of You Are Meant for More. Go out there and stay blessed.
What you do, what inspires you, what you enjoy.
My ability to lead really impacts women on a larger level, because not every woman has the same story or the same journey. So understanding where they've come from and where they want to go helps me be the leader that I can, so that I can show up in a space of authenticity for them.